Who is Patty?
I'm a sales and marketing strategist. I always say that marketing chose me. I didn't choose marketing. So I have a routine I take that I go off socials because I feel like there's so much noise in the world.
When you say strategy, what is it?
Strategy is basically identifying that I want to go here. How do I get there? In what unique way am I going to get there? You need a strategy because people are not just sitting there waiting to spend their money on you. You need somebody to help you understand the value that you carry. Appearance matters, your branding and all of that. If you don't see yourself as valuable enough to charge this amount, you will not be able to charge it. I don't enter rooms that I am not valued. Some people want to be termed as luxury. You are not luxury by just putting that label on you. It is in your identity. Now there's so much information on the internet. What you know is not all there is to know. So you constantly have to look for new ways to understand what it is that you know.
Welcome to another episode of Unscripted with Raygan. And this episode looks like the females are coming a lot. And I'm happy. You know, last season, a lot of ladies were coming for me. Why are you not interviewing the women? And this season,
I had the same question.
Yeah, I know. This season, we have a lot of beautiful women. I'm sure you guys know who it is already by the voice. Today I have with me Patty, the strategist.
Hello.
That's AKA, also known as Patience, or Patience, also known as Patty.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so happy to have you here. We had Kenny. The episode went out today. Today's Wednesday. You know, usually we release on Wednesdays, so today's a very good day for our podcast.
Yay.
How are you doing? And I don't want the usual. I'm okay.
I am well. I'm in a very good place. We are still in quarter one.
Mhm.
The year is now properly kicking off for me, and things are falling in place. So yeah, I'm good.
How has 2025 been so far? Aside the fact that you're feeling, I know you went off social media.
Yes.
I texted you and I got an automated message.
Yes.
What was the plan?
2025 has been interesting. So I have a routine I take that I go off socials because I feel like there's so much noise in the world. For different seasons of your life or different seasons in the year, you have to take a step back and then like tunnel vision, lock in and get things done. So far, 2025 has been quite challenging.
You were away for 3 months or was more than?
Almost 3 months. Almost 3.
Now, how are you doing it? Because I feel like I used to do this like 3 years ago. And to be very honest, it's very, very productive. Because you go off social media, you get so much. And I realize how much let me check my phone, 2 minutes.
Yes.
Let me check my phone, 1 minute was stealing from me.
Yeah.
But then it's been a while I did that. But how are you coping? Because to be away for 3 months, you have businesses, you have people, you have family.
Yeah.
How are you doing it?
From the beginning, it's challenging because it's like muscle memory. Your phone just picks up you pick up your phone and you're looking for the app without even realizing. So it was quite challenging. But in about a week or two, you start realizing that actually, So it takes a lot of my revenue comes from social media because the more traffic you get, the more, conversions.
Right.
So then it's affected revenue very much. But the work that you do, the foundations you dig during that time will put you in a place where it sustains your business. Do you understand? So one of the key things I'm trying to do moving forward is not to be solely dependent on social media. So that was also part of it. It was challenging, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it is. I think I should try and do that this year because I remember when I used to do it. When I'm going off, I just delete the apps. And the next thing you realize, you're doing something, you'll be like, oh, I'm off social media.
Yes.
Anyways, one question I always ask our guests is, who are you? Who is Patty? For the people watching, maybe this is their first time seeing you.
Okay.
And you might be surprised. A lot of people know you, but maybe
plenty people don't know me.
Exactly. Who is Patty? Why should they continue watching this conversation?
Patty is just a girl. I'm just a girl. I'm a sales and marketing strategist. That I feel like is just one part of the facets of Patty. I am a business girl, very business minded. I like to see people transform. So in terms of personal development and growth and self-mastery, I like to champion that. So outside of sales and marketing, I'm always making sure that if you come into my space, you are leaving better than you encountered me. Um, I am a coach. So I coach businesses into increasing visibility and revenue, running sustainable businesses. I am somebody's daughter.
Nice, important.
I am a sister. I
Are you
am.
somebody's wife? Please continue.
Yeah, so definitely I'm somebody's wife. He's just
He's
here
just not.
to
Yeah.
put
Please
the ring
look
on it.
well.
So no, but I'm not open to the markets. Let's just
Sorry.
put it out there.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm all of these things. I'm a child of God.
Yeah. Very
Yeah,
important.
that's my primary identity. Um, that is why I live. Everything else I do is laced with the God factor. I believe strongly that if you are not connected with your creator, then you don't really know how you're operating. Yeah.
This introduction you just gave, this is very off the. Is it practiced? Is it rehearsed?
No.
Is it something people
No,
actually?
this is actually the first time I'm introducing myself like this.
Wow. I'll
Yeah.
cut to this part for you because it was very, very good.
Thank
Now,
you.
I mean, we'll dive into all the different aspects you mentioned, like strategy, business, sales, marketing. I joined you did, I think last year, you did business X-ray something seminar
Yes,
on
the
YouTube.
webinar.
Yeah,
Yes.
I joined that. We'll talk about all those. But
Okay.
then, how has your career journey been so far? Because one of the reasons why we are having this show is to inspire the people watching, right?
Okay.
Most of the times you see somebody doing amazing things on social media and all that, be like, wow, they have it going well and all that. But the journey is not always straight. You know, there were some things you had to deal with, some challenges and all that. How has
Yeah.
the career journey been for you? When did you start and all that?
It's been so interesting. I always say that marketing chose me. I didn't choose marketing. And so when I finished SHS, I've always wanted to read law. I'm very logical, very analytical. I want to prove a point always. So my friends always used to say, you know, you need to read law, you need to become a lawyer. Like you're always winning arguments and things like I'll come with facts and things. So I conditioned myself that I wanted to read law. But my year group was the year that there's the third years and the fourth years were graduating at the same
Okay.
time. So that meant that the universities cannot take all of us.
Yeah.
So the chances that you get into uni was very low. So I applied to KNUST and then Legon. My grades were good, but I didn't hear back. One day I was there and then I got an SMS from KNUST that they are affiliated with Ghana Telecom University. I said, okay, that's interesting. Let me check. And I had told myself that I'm not going to sit at home for 1 year. So I needed to get into school one way or the other. So I go check out the school and yes, it's an IT school, engineering, all of that, but they had the IT business. So I said, okay, that's interesting. Business has a lot of reading courses. I like reading. So let me get into it just because. And then I'll probably read HR. So I got into business school thinking that HR is a reading course. So I'm going to do HR. So I got into business school. And then for the first 2 years, you do a bit of everything. So then I went into, I think we did marketing management and then international marketing. And I absolutely loved it. And I had always been curious about the commercials I see on TV and all of that. And that class helped me understand the science behind those things, the theories, the principles. So I said, I'm going to do this. So I majored in marketing. Interestingly, in level 300, so I joined a campus group. Echo House has this campus, groups. I joined them. And then I wrote an article for their campus, their magazine. So then they're like, okay, come do your internship with Cool Peeps. So I was writing articles for Cool Peeps. Then there's a big beach party, Tidal Reef, that Echo House manages. So I was called, and around that time, like Tidal Reef is an internal event. So everybody, all hands on deck. So I was called to manage the vendors. So the marketplace at Tidal Reef, they said, you're a very organized girl. So to handle this. And for the first time, they had a very seamless market, like so organized and all of that. And then my boss is like, Beryl, she says, you're really good with, organizing these things, managing projects. And so they put me in the projects department.
Mhm.
And it just started. So the projects department handled a lot more experiential activations, marketing, all the proper marketing
Yeah.
stuff. So by the time I finished uni, even before I started national service, I was
Right. Oh,
working in
yeah.
in marketing and I loved it. So I continued working with Echo for about 3 years and then I left.
You know, you're the first person who didn't dabble in other things. It's
Oh,
like you finish school, no, you just or
yeah.
just handle. I now
Yes.
understand the statement marketing chose you because most of the
Yes.
people that come is like, oh, I did this, I did that, then found myself here.
Mm,
When you say strategy,
yeah.
right? Because it looks like there's one word that cuts across most of your messaging I see online.
Mm.
What is it?
Strategy is basically identifying that I want to go here.
Mhm.
How do I get there? In what unique way am I going to get there?
Okay.
That's strategy. So it can be applied to your life. It can be applied to your relationship. You want to move to a girl. You want to date somebody. What strategy are you going to use? I like to use that example a lot because it's relatable to
Yeah.
everybody. So what do you want to gain, and then how do you get there? That's strategy.
So in your case, it's connected to the business side of things.
Yes.
In what way? Maybe an example to make it easier for me to understand.
So strategy when it comes to business is you've identified a gap in the market. You've identified that there are a bunch of people that have a certain problem. For example, you identify that maybe people are not able to find stories of people that are excelling in what they do.
Mhm.
And so how do I or I found that, oh, I listened to this person, I have the privilege of having conversations with people that have made it. How do I make it accessible for all the other people that are in my space
Mhm.
but cannot have access to party
Mhm.
to have this conversation with? And so the strategy we are going to use to make sure that the young people are empowered and are developing themselves to become that kind of person is to produce a show which is called unscripted,
Mhm.
right? So that's literally what it is. It's same for business. You identify that there are people who want to wear the Zaras, they want to be able to wear the H&Ms and all the nice stuff, but they don't have access to the US markets or the UK markets. So my strategy is for me to find very nice and unique outfits, bring them in and sell it to these people. The niche can be corporate women. Corporate women cannot find really nice outfits to wear to work, without looking too serious. They
Yeah.
want something that is, corporate and also quite casual. So all those things are identifying the gap and finding ways to be able to fill that gap for the customer whilst making money or getting value in return.
Right.
Yeah.
Let me go a step back.
Mm.
You do marketing, you do sales, you do coaching and all that.
Yeah.
Amongst everything, you run a business, which
Yes.
is everything that coming together, right?
Yes.
And I find it unique because most time when you find someone say, okay, I'm a sales manager, I'm into marketing, they're probably working for someone. You
Yes.
definitely have clients who work for another, but you treat it as a business.
Yes.
Right. How did that start? Where did it transform from, okay, I'm just working with clients to becoming a business? Because it's one thing to have the mindset of I'm just working with clients, I'm a freelancer and all that,
Yeah.
to now start treating it as a business fully.
I think I've had the mindset of I want this to be a business from the very beginning because of where I was coming from. I worked in an agency. So I understood the structure and systems behind things.
Okay.
So that is how I kicked off. But I started off solo. However, I was building in a way that um the business will not be dependent on me forever. I don't want to do this forever. I don't want to be I mean that's why I left corporate. I want to be able to up and go on vacation. I
Yeah.
want to be able to take 3 months of socials,
Yeah.
If you're doing this by yourself, then it means that you don't have the luxury to be able to do that. So I've always had that mindset. However, I think 2021, that was when I hired my first employee.
Okay.
She was the chief of staff. My friends used to laugh at me that
First
it's
person,
just you,
it's
yeah, it's just you and the person who what staff is she chief? But I've always had that, like, have that title so that you feel like what you're doing is important. So there was that. I faced some hurdles, business hurdles in 2023, so I had to let it go. And now we are going full force again, moving from employing just one person to currently we have about 7 roles.
Okay,
Yeah.
hiring.
Yes. Okay, there currently 3 is filled. We need 2 more. 3 more. Yeah, 3 more.
You guys look sharp.
We need 3 more. So we are currently in the process of interviewing and finding talent and all of that. So for me, it is which is one of the things that drives what I do and what I teach my clients, that we need to build a structured institution for you to be able to live the life that you want to live. The multinational brands that you see, that you admire so much, that is what runs them: structure, systems. The only difference between that small business and the multinational is the money allocated to them. But it's the same principles.
What are some of the principles? In terms of structure, like, give an example. I mean, I know I put you on stop on this.
So, you know how a small business, you started solo, right? So it will be difficult for you to start delegating things because you feel like, they will not do it the way I want to. But that is where documentation comes in and standard operating procedures. That's one thing that the multinationals do so well with. So you can see Coca-Cola, if you pick a brand like Coca-Cola, and you look at Coca-Cola Ghana social media, let's even limit it to Instagram. You look at Coca-Cola Ghana, Coca-Cola UAE, their Instagram, you'll find that it's the same messaging, it's the same things, probably different creatives and all of that, but it's the same messaging, same brand colors, same, because they've documented and they've been able to relay that information to all the employees. So when you find that when they hire, they have an intensive onboarding process, which includes orientation. They help you understand why the brand exists, why they do what they do. This is how we do things. This is our DNA. This is how you say this. This is how you talk about this. Then it runs through everybody else. Now, as a small business, when you adopt that principle of being able to document and bring your team on board that concept, it makes work easier for you, because now I can pick my phone. I can give my phone to, let's say, one of my team members, and they can respond to a message, and you will not be able to tell that this is not Patty responding to my message, because we've built the brand strategy. We know the brand voice. We know the brand personality. We know the kind of wording we use. So we are not able to tell. Yeah.
Yeah, that's impressive. So, I mean, in terms of small business, right, I wanted to ask you a question. What are some mistakes you think Ghana businesses are making? But then we are going to combine that Ghana businesses and then some of these small businesses. Because now, I think from what you were saying, one of the mistakes is in terms of delegation and poor documentation. Because now, when you start hiring people, there's no system or structure in place in terms of documentation. So now you have to be repeating whatever you're saying every single time. What other mistakes are there? And then the Ghana business ones too, because I have issues with some of them.
Mistakes. I think one of the primary mistakes I see businesses make would be not trying to get it right from the beginning. There's always the mentality that, oh, I don't have much, so I'm small. So when I become big, then I will fix it. But it takes doing these intentional things. It takes being intentional about these practices to become big. It's not the other way around.
True.
Do you understand? So when you are starting, when you are putting capital aside, when you are allocating money for sourcing your products and making your store look so aesthetic, put money aside for marketing and branding.
So they are coming for them.
Put money aside for that, because trust me, how you want to be perceived. Some people want to be termed as luxury. You are not luxury by just putting that label on you. It is in your identity. It's in how the clients experiences you. It is the clients that gets to say that this is a luxury brand, not you. But you can influence our thinking. So put a lot of time and money in your marketing, in your branding, building your brand strategy. And one of the core things you do when building brand strategy is understanding the customer. You need to understand the customer's needs. And this is beyond the functionality of whatever it is you are serving them. There's the emotional need, there's the social need. There's so many things driving the decision making of the customer. When you understand this deeply, every platform you find yourself, you're able to connect with the people that need your solution. So spend a lot of time, do your research, and get that right. If you get it right, I mean, you are not going to get it right in, let's say, the first 3 months. The more you do, the more you're able to refine who your target customer is and what their needs are. And then the more you do that, the more you're able to attract the kind of people you want to work with. So put a lot of emphasis on that when you are starting out. Get expert advice. Yes, now there's so much information on the internet, but I can promise you that yes, AI will give you something, but there's something AI misses. If I can be looking for something from AI and I'll give AI a certain prompt that will give me certain results, you will not be able to get the same results. Because of my understanding of the customer, I'm able to feed AI what to give me to be able to appeal to that customer. But you may not know that need. So you may not be able to tell you. AI will tell you that I've literally given somebody a task that plan your launch strategy. And it came with, okay, we'll launch a website. But if you go with an expert, the experts will tell you that, okay, for the website, this is the angle we are going, or even for this collection launch, this is the messaging we are going with. This is what we are trying to communicate to the consumer. And we are going to do an activation like this and like that. But AI will give you a lot more generic things. So try as much as possible to get an expert from the beginning to help you understand the basics. And then when you layer artificial intelligence, it gives you really good resources. Have I answered your question?
Yes. You have a lot in your head. You mentioned launch strategy, which I think I saw either in one of your emails or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. Is it basically if a business is coming out?
Yeah, it could be if a business is coming out, if you are introducing a new product, if you're introducing a new service. Basically introducing something new to the consumer.
So why don't I just post it? Why do I need a strategy?
You need a strategy because people are not just sitting there waiting to spend their money on you.
Okay.
That's the first one. The second one is now brands are competing with each other for the attention of consumers.
Okay.
Even for your podcast, you are competing with other, you need to get the eyeballs. And there are so many other things getting the attention of the customer. If you log onto YouTube now, you see so many videos. I have to decide which one I want to watch based on the thumbnail or all those things. That's the same way in the market. The consumer there are so many options available to the customer. So you have to give them a reason to go with your products or your service. Yeah. Which is why a launch is important.
So do you decide on a strategy based on analytics, like data?
Yeah.
Okay. And how would you combine data and the creative side of things? Because in terms of marketing, you need data to make informed decisions, right?
Yes.
But then there's the creative side. I think I asked this, Ajwa, her episode is coming out next week.
Okay.
But then there's the creative side of things, right? How do you combine both so that it doesn't mix and you still get the result you want?
Actually, marketing is both the art and the science.
Oh.
Yeah. You can't focus on one.
Okay.
You have to merge both of them seamlessly. So the science is where we start from, understanding consumer behavior. How do people relate to the problem that you are solving? What is driving that need? How are they looking to solve that? If you see me, a lot of times when I'm on social media, I'm reading comments and all of that. It's not for cruise or for vibes. I'm trying to understand how people think.
Okay.
So I'll see an influencer post something. I'm reading comments to see how people are responding to it. And it's you said this a lot in my head.
Yeah.
It's all information that my brain is processing. And so if I happen to work with a brand that is in that same category that I read on, I have the insights based on what I've read from the consumers. So you have to understand the science behind the customer, what is drive, the psychology. Marketing has to do a lot with psychology. You buy the things you buy because the brand has been able to sometimes manipulate you into getting it.
And you didn't even know.
And you didn't even know.
Yeah.
Do you see? So understanding the psychology is very crucial. And then the creativity becomes what helps you stand out amongst the different brands. What makes you appeal to the person's interest? What can you do for you to be able to pique the person's interest and continuously be in the person's mind? Because if you're not creative about your communication, then I encounter you once and then I move on. But if I hear the ad, I'm sure there are ads you remember from when you were a kid. That's because of how much they were able to play on the science and the creativity. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's step back away from this boring but good conversation, which is the marketing and all that.
Okay.
You have a lot in your head. And just from speaking, right? Like going through comments. I wouldn't go and watch another influencers video reading the comments and all that.
Yeah.
It just dawned on me that most successful people are not successful by luck. And that's what people don't know, right? There's the personal things they do behind the screens, behind that we don't see.
Yeah.
In the last, how long have you been doing this?
5 years. Yeah.
In the last 5 years, right? What has been like your way of learning? Let me put it that way. Did you learn most of these things from the university when you went to Ghana Telecom, or you learned them? I'm sure you picked some from online and all that. But what how are you learning? And maybe you can recommend a book or two, because
the books I have to check.
No problem. I have the time.
Right. So how do I learn? So there's the marketing I studied in school for my undergrad. And then there's the experience I gathered when I was working with the agency.
Okay.
Because with the agency, I got to work with multinational brands. So I get to work with the Nestle's and all of that. Now, when I quit my job, around this time, 5 years ago, 2020, I had quit my job. I didn't have anything. I quit my job without no savings, no nothing. And the plan was to start, officially take my fashion brand seriously.
You have a fashion brand.
I had a fashion brand. That's a story for another day. So the plan was to do that to be able to sustain myself financially. However, COVID hit and then there was a ban on social gatherings. And a fashion brand, nobody was buying clothes, at that time. So I said, okay, I've been saying that I want to be a consultant. But I was thinking about it like future, maybe 2 or 3 years later. Now, an interesting thing happened. When I quit my job, because I was going to take the fashion business seriously, I wanted to learn more about the business side of things. So the first way that I learn is through coaches.
Okay.
I pay coaches. The amount of money I've invested in coaches in USD is not a joke. So I found a Nigerian coach, Trisha Bays, one of the biggest coaches in Africa, business coaches in Africa. And she was coming to Ghana to do a workshop. So I signed up for the workshop. And then when I went, about 70% of the things she spoke about marketing, I knew it, So it was a light bulb moment that, this is possible.
Right.
Because I thought that with my marketing degree, I could either work in an agency, start an agency now that I've quit, or go work with any of the multinationals. I didn't have any connection to link me to a multinational brand, but she helped me visualize what was possible. And then, so that was the first learning experience for me. So I started investing in coaches. It was quite new in the Ghanaian terrain. Yeah. So I paid...
in USD.
Yes, in USD. So I paid to have access to her to understand how to build my personal brand and monetize the knowledge that I had. So that was one. I read a lot. I read a lot of books on marketing, on sales. There's one thing I love to say, that what you know is not all there is to know. So you constantly have to look for new ways
Yeah.
to understand what it is that you know. The consumers, unfortunately, if you're in marketing, what you know is not fixed because consumers are constantly evolving. The trends are constantly changing. So you have to stay updated with information. But when you understand the principles, it helps because the principles do not change. It is just how you reach the consumer that usually changes. So yes, there was my degree. There's learning from coaches. There's reading. I take courses. So the informal courses, like I'll see something on copywriting, I'll go and do it. I'll see something on brand strategy, I'll go and do it. Another way I like to learn is marketing has to do a lot with funnels, especially with the kind of products and services I sell. So I would go into someone's funnel and go through it and see that, okay, this person sends this email at this point, and this is what they said. This is how the subject line looked like. Okay, so da 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 da. So there are the informal ways of learning, and I'm currently pursuing my master's degree.
Where?
They should pay me for the ad.
Hey, that's a businesswoman right there. So, two things: investment and time. From everything you said, I mean, coaches, that's money. Investing, and then
Yes.
going to read. That's your time.
Yeah.
But then, there are people that might not be at the point where they can invest financially, right?
Yes.
The time won't work for them eventually.
Yes. All the coaches, all the people you want to learn have free resources.
Okay, that's
Almost all of them have free resources.
that's true.
So starts from there. That's how I started. So Trisha Biz, for instance, yes, I went for the workshop, but I had learned so much on her Instagram before going on that workshop into that workshop. Then there was the course about monetizing your knowledge. I took that course. I think I quit my job in 2020. So I encountered her in 2020. I took the course officially, I think, in 2021. It took 1 whole year for me to put together about $350 to sign up for that.
Why?
Yeah.
Never mind.
Because I had quit. Money hadn't
Yeah,
started coming
yeah.
in yet. But she had a lot of free resources. She was doing a lot of webinars and all of that. And as part of every coach's funnel, there are lead magnets that they will do to, there's juice in there.
yeah.
It's not everything, but you get something.
Yeah.
And it's based on those things that I picked that I eventually started implementing, and then I was able to raise money and pay for her course.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So find the free resources. Now, there's so much resource available. YouTube, listen, everywhere.
Yeah.
So find it.
I have a similar story. When I was on campus, when I wanted to get into product design, I saw a free course. It was not supposed to be free, but I got it for free anyways.
Yeah.
And it was a very introductory course, like basic. I was like, you know what, let me just take this. I took it, just like you. I started using that to make money. Then eventually, I think a year later, I now had money to start buying other courses, online that were paid, expensive and all that.
Yeah.
And I think one thing I realized over the years, people are not ready to invest their money. They are ready to invest their time, but once it comes into money, they're like, why do I have to pay?
Yes.
But what you don't know is that you have the money. They're just not. For example, it took you 1 year. If you said you didn't have the money, that year will pass and you'll still not be able to gather the $350.
Yeah.
Dedicated. So
let me add to that. Once you start paying those monies, it's easier for you to start charging certain amounts.
Yes.
Yeah. It has a psychological effect on you. Yeah.
For example, if you don't pay for some of these softwares you use, when I even charge the client, you feel guilty.
Yeah. Yeah. But there's something I say. So I have this thing where every year I travel out for a conference, and it's personal development conference. And I say that once I enter the plane and I come back, my price has to go up because I cannot pay all this money to improve upon myself and come back to charging peanuts. We need to be able to sustain the lifestyle.
Oh, God. Still on the topic of money here. I mean, about negotiation.
Yeah.
No, before that, how can someone start a business without money?
I started my business without money.
That was on the service side of things.
Yes. But products, now there are so many ways. An example is drop shipping. So there are ways. You have to find a way. So find a gap. Find a problem. I always ask that you start from there. Find a problem that people are experiencing. Don't start from going to find a product and now finding people to buy it.
Right.
Find the problem and then now find ways to solve the problem. So you'll be able to know that, okay, I know that there's a demand for this particular thing. I don't have money to start. So what do I do? Can I reach out to a supplier and arrange something with them? You don't need to send me the products. I don't have money to pay for it. So I would send you my orders. You deliver to the person. I'll send you money. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So a lot of the businesses that do payment before delivery, some of them run those systems.
Yeah.
So they need to be able to receive your money before they can go to their supplier and send you the products. So there are ways you can start a products business without having capital.
Beautiful. Negotiating. I asked Kenny the same question when she came, and she said something that stood out for me, that the way you appear or your personal brand can determine how much you can call for in certain rooms, right? Yes. How do you, when you enter, these places, you are going to charge them the big money you've been charging. Yeah. Please, how does the conversation go? Because I think money is a very interesting topic for most people.
Yes. Especially in Ghana.
Yes. Like, it's so difficult because first thing is, okay, I've met this client. Maybe you've not been getting clients in the last 6 months. Mm-hmm. You start getting scared. If I call for, let's say, 1,000 USD, maybe you run away and go to another creative. So you let me call 500. 500 too. All those things. Like, it becomes a big problem. Mm-hmm. And then now you mention the price. They'll be like, oh, can you do this? And now, the whole back end, it's a very interesting. And even in the creative field, last time I had a call with one designer, and that was like the first question he asked me, because he was like, he knows how to do the thing. But the moment money comes up, he's scared to talk about it.
Yeah.
I think
he needs a coach, first of all. You need somebody to help you understand the value that you carry. A lot of times it's from that place. So when you're able to sit down and identify that, so this is something I ask everybody to do. This is the service or the product you're giving to the customer, but paints the image of what life becomes for them after they've used you.
Yeah.
That is like, you cannot put a price on that. Do you understand? So once you understand what you're doing for them, you're able to understand and position yourself. So yes, appearance matters, your branding and all of that. But if you don't see yourself as valuable enough to charge this amount, you will not be able to charge it. Secondly, I don't enter rooms that I am not valued. Yeah. Some people will reach out, but I want to work with you. The first thing I ask is, what budget are we looking at working with? Yeah. If it's not, we don't even need to go there and have the conversation. I have a team. I have a salary to pay. Exposure, vibes will not pay them.
Because you hold your neck.
Yeah.
So,
I understand that, especially at the beginning phase,
yes,
you are going through a very difficult season, so you may want to settle for anything. However, there's always supposed to be an exchange.
Okay.
If, let's say, I'm charging you $500 for this and you cannot pay, and you want to do $200, you need to give me something that can help me fetch another $250 or $300 client.
Yep.
Which means that I'm going to leverage so much on your testimonial.
Yeah.
You film testimonial for me. You will tell me.
You will say
you will do it.
Okay.
So in exchange of reducing the price, ask for something in return that will help you get more clients. Do you understand?
That's good. Because I learned something. No, that's good. I learned something from someone that when you're pricing a client, say you tell them I'll pay 1,000. You take them 1,000, like, oh, they can do 800. When you send them the invoice, still have 1,000 there, but then put 200 as a discount. Yes. But then now, from what you just said, adding to that, the 200 is not just a discount, but then it becomes an exchange.
Yes.
That's good. I'm going to make money. Please, do you want to add anything to that?
Do I want to? When it comes to pricing, I think there are so many things we can talk about. What else? What can I add?
How do you even price yourself? Like, I mean, you mentioned that you need to know your value.
Yeah.
But then how do you put a monetary aspect to it? Because I think it's another question that designers really ask me. I'm in a creative field.
Yeah.
Be like, okay, I can do this, but how do I determine the price? Oh, Raygan, this client wants me to build a website for them. How do I determine the price? And sometimes I tell them, I can't tell you.
Yeah.
Because what I will charge be different from what you charge.
Exactly.
But then, I mean, in the last 5 years, how have you been doing it?
So it started with I'm new, so I want to charge a price that helps me get a lot more people in.
Yeah.
So that I will have a lot more testimonials
Testimonials.
to be able to get more clients. So
Yeah.
that was it. But the basis of everything is how much is costing me, especially as a freelancer. It's costing you a certain amount of money to live monthly. How much is it costing you? Factor that in your pricing, and know that. So you even have to set goals every month. You set a revenue goal that for me to be able to make this amount of money and pay my bills, then I need to be having 4 clients paying this amount.
Right.
That influences how you even show up in markets every month.
Right.
You are not just sitting there waiting for somebody to reach out.
Yeah.
You get it. So that's one of them. I've lost my train of thought. How did we get here? Pricing.
Yeah.
So understand the cost that goes into, there's something we call price ceiling and price floor. Yeah. You need to know what you cannot go below, especially because it's a service business. It's variable, like it's dependent on what you think you want to charge. But know that I cannot go beyond this amount and I cannot go above this amount. So it leaves room, like buffer room for negotiations. Do you understand? When you know that for any website development project I get, I cannot go below 5K because it's costing me A, B, C, and D to be able to put it together. This is the amount of hours. I don't charge based on hours. Somebody will say, as a consultant, is this amount of money for this number of hours? No, because my brain is not working based on hours. It doesn't shut off at this time. And then I'm constantly thinking about ways to be able to improve your business. So I don't subscribe to the hourly rates. I mean, for one-on-one sessions and all of that, we can do that. Like, okay, book a clarity session for 90 minutes. That is, but if I'm going to be on your projects for a particular period of time, then it can't be, put around the time bucket. So you need to understand what is going into that, first of all. You need to understand what other people are charging in the industry. To help you understand, okay, this person is charging this amount, this and this, and this is what they offer. What can I add in terms of value? Maybe this person has been doing it for 10 years, so they have the audacity to be able to charge that amount. I have 2 years of experience. How do I ensure that I'm positioning myself to be able to get the kind of clients this person has? So you leverage on, this is what the package contains. Though I have 2 years, I can deliver this, and constantly also painting the image of what life can be for the person after they've incorporated a website into their business. Do you understand? So especially when it comes to like personal brands and freelancers, it's usually your discretion.
Yeah.
And what the client is willing to part ways with.
So it's how bold you have to call a certain figure.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you're timid, you mention a figure, the client was probably going to go higher. I think 2 years ago, yes, I mean, where I currently work, when we did the interview, they asked me how much I wanted to charge. And that was the first time I was good to mention a figure like that. It was like 3-4 times what I was earning in my previous job.
Yeah.
I mentioned it, the guy said, okay, so next question.
Yeah.
I'm like, Jesus. Like, what you could, like, oh, they didn't. And that was what, I'm even speechless.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you undervalue what you actually carry, which I agree. So sometimes you just need to be bold.
Yeah.
Because I mean, sometimes I'm even in that position. Hey, what if I call this and they go? Because you really need the money. You really need the money.
There's also something I've noticed about negotiation. When you give a range, so say, oh, Patty, how much is it going to cost you to consult on this project? And I say it's going to cost 25 to 35,000 cedis. When they come back, they'll go for the lowest one on the bracket. So when you are given the range, have that in mind. Have that in. It always
so the lowest
happens.
Should be your highest, and then the highest would be what you have been charged.
Yes, yeah, always. And they will always come back to try and negotiate.
Yeah.
So put as much buffer on it. Like I mentioned, the price floor. You know that genuinely this is what I want, but let me go a little up and see. When they come back and they say, oh, unfortunately, we will not be able to, so we can't move forward. Then you enter your negotiation, okay, what can you do? We are willing to do this and that. Or sometimes you take off some of the deliverables to be able to accommodate
Right. Beautiful. You said something about consulting. The businesses you consult, that if it's one-on-one, maybe you can charge hourly. But then if you're going to be on their projects for a long time. So if you're consulting businesses, like you're that involved, like everything A to Z.
Yeah.
So you become part of the team.
Yes. Yeah.
That must be hectic.
It can be very intensive, but sometimes it's not like a full scope project. So for instance, the projects we met on, it was just one campaign that I was consulting on. So it was not as intensive. I say that that's one of my best consulting projects that I've been on. It's not as intensive. Right. What they need is for you to give them like your knowledge, your mind. Okay, let's do it this way, let's do it that way, and all of that. So there's that. And there's the people, like a startup that I consulted for. It's quite intensive. Like I had to help them with a pitch. And listen, we left the office around 1 a.m., 1:30 a.m., and the pitch was at 7 a.m. So I had to go home, quickly change, come, and then we'll go for the pitch. And all. They ended up winning the pitch. But those are not long term. It was a 1 month thing that we worked on it. They won the pitch and then the company executes by themselves. So it varies based on the
consultants chop a lot of money. I know.
Yeah.
Because I know Chris Doe spoke of a story of one guy, I've forgotten his name. He one time went to meet a client, and when he was coming back in the plane, he felt so drained. Like he felt like the client had drained his. When he got down, he just multiplied whatever he charges by. I'm like, and this person when is coming, you pay for his flight, you pay for his host.
Yes. Yeah.
People charge a lot.
Yes, but think about it. I am coaching people, right? Maybe if I take 4 clients in a month and each one of them is paying, say, 15K, that's how much? About 60K.
Yeah.
But I'm going to spend an entire month in your business, probably on a daily basis, engaging with your team. Like you need to be able to pay for the business I'm losing an extra.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Please, how do I get into one? Bye-bye, unscripted. That's just bad.
Position yourself as a thought leader. That's one of the core things. The projects we were on together, they found me. I didn't pitch for it. They sent the email. When I saw the email, initially I was a bit like, is this real? Yeah. Then they asked for an interview. We had the conversation. They came back and said, we are going with you. So I asked them, how did you find us? They searched online and they found, they selected us. So your thought leadership, build authority with your content, show your expertise, show what you know, show the work you've done. And then they'll know that, I can bank on this person to be able to give me the results I'm looking for.
Okay. I'll see you again in next 3 years.
I'm looking forward to it.
There's something that came to mind, which was partnerships, right? Working with brands.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get into the influencing marketing. People will come for me for saying it that way, but yes, I'm still new. How was like the approach when you're working with brands? Because I worked with one brand last year, and I find it a little bit boring working with brands because there's the whole restriction, they're trying to control you and all that. You've worked with some brands in the past, right? What was the process like? What advice would you give to creatives or maybe people in businesses who are working with brands?
So I've worked more on the brand side than on influencer side. I feel like the Ghanaian brands cannot pay me yet for.
We've closed.
Honestly, a lot of the people who reach out for one of my team members is here. Like we've been doing some back and forth with some partnerships. It always falls, somewhere along the line because the amount of work that goes into, creating visibility for brands is just something else. Now, on the brand side, it can seem a bit uptight because, like I said, they have rules that they are working with. They have to make sure that you are representing them in a way that does not put them in a certain light. So that's why it may seem a bit restrictive. But I know brands that will give you creative freedom. This is what our messaging is. This is what we are trying to communicate. Come up with creative ways. But there's usually ways that it is kept. So, for instance, when they send you the brief, if a brand reaches out to you and they don't send you a brief, that's a red flag because it's going to be a lot
It's
of back and forth
yeah.
trying to understand what they want for you to be able to deliver.
Yeah.
So there has to be the brief to help you understand what they are trying to achieve. Then usually you send them your concepts, whatever it is you want to execute. Then they add, subtract, whatever. Then you go on to produce, the content. I know that when it comes to influencer marketing, a lot of times it's a pull strategy instead of push. It's difficult for you to, especially in the Ghanaian context, to reach out to brands and say that, I can do A, B, C, and D for you. Some of them would say, okay, yeah, this is our budget for the year, we would like to have you on. It would be great that you position yourself. It's always about the positioning.
Yeah.
And then your numbers as well. Some people would say that it doesn't have to be about the numbers, but if they know that you have these number of eyeballs, they are willing. Sometimes you know that this creator, this content they are doing is not giving, but the brands
they'll still get it.
The brands are going for them because they have the numbers. They will always prioritize numbers.
Doesn't that's like the quality of work becomes low?
Yeah,
and they don't mind.
Some brand managers don't mind.
Because I've been talking to Michael on the team about the same thing. Just said that some of the creators said, this one, it didn't pick.
Yeah.
So okay, but it's not always about the numbers.
It's not. It shouldn't be about. It shouldn't always be about the numbers.
Yeah.
I think it should be the ability of the influencer or the creator to be able to connect with your consumers without the consumer feeling like you've been paid to tell me to buy this product or service. Yeah.
Anyways, Ghanaian brands. Interviews. I saw it yesterday. Was it yesterday or this morning? This morning, yeah. Interview tips. I think you said you did some interviews yesterday. You were giving some tips. I read a few of them. But what mistakes? Because people are crying for jobs.
Yeah.
But I think, again, 3 years ago, I was a lead designer somewhere where I used to interview designers and all that. And I came to realize, when I was in that position, I came to realize that, hey, Charlie, if you apply for jobs, it's not easy. Because the job posting goes out, you get like 50, 100 emails, and one person has to be going through them. And I was feeling bad at the point because I just opened it. Okay.
Yeah.
Then, in the moment, I was like, wow, so is this what they used to do to those emails? They send me, you are rejected and all that. But I feel like some of the mistakes come from the applicant.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
What's the carousel you posted, those tips, can you give us some? Can you share some of them here?
Okay, so the first one, so this is based on like real experience. I typically will not post contents like that. Yeah. But after it happened, I'm like, listen,
we need to talk about
this. So we had my application process is not the regular send your CV and cover letter.
Okay.
Let's not waste each other's time. So it's a whole vetting process. There's a form you fill out, and in that form you get to attach your CV, share your work experience, and all of that. And so in your writing, we are vetting. Yes, in your writing, we are vetting. And even when we send the email with the link to schedule your interview, how soon you scheduled?
Yeah.
Did you respond to the email acknowledging that, we've received it, I've been able to book, What kind of language are you using in the email? Because you're coming to work in a corporate space. Yeah. If you don't know that after you send an email, you have to sign out with, let's say, kind regards or whatever. Yeah. All those things are things we are looking at. Do you see? So in the application process, we are looking at all of these things, which is not, doesn't have anything to do with competency. Yeah. So somebody may be able to communicate very well, have the work ethic and all of that and would be prioritized over the person with
Yeah.
competency. Do you see? Then there's the element of people that worked with a good organization. So, for instance, for the community manager role, there was somebody that worked with an agency we know. We've seen their campaigns. And so we know that once you've gone through that agency, there's something with you that we can work with. So I recommend that you find internship opportunities that will help us connect your competence with an already established organization. Makes it easier for you to get into the room. We had somebody who was late, and clearly it was obvious that she had, because it was a virtual interview, it was quite obvious that she had a virtual like a technical problem, and because when she joined the lights were off and all of those things, and you could tell that she's angry at herself that
she couldn't. Oh,
she couldn't. But don't be so angry at yourself that you neglect.
Yeah.
Oh,
the job continues.
I sincerely apologize. I had these challenges. That's why because we had 15 minutes and we have a 5 minutes break. So 15 minutes per candidate, 5 minutes break, and we hop on to the next one. So if you show up 5 minutes to the end of yours, we can't have an extensive conversation with you. But for me, it was her demeanor, not trying to explain, not trying to apologize or anything. It felt like
she didn't apologize.
No.
Goodness.
It was we had to ask, like, why are you not now joining? Da, 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 and it was such a shoddy explanation. And that shows, I feel like that will show in your work.
Yes.
When you start working with us.
You come 10 minutes late. You can't even say, oh, I'm sorry for coming late. You know, I'm surprised. I feel like if this person watches this interview, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
I feel like something should become
personal.
Yeah, something should be common sense.
Yeah.
Because last year when we did a roundtable discussion with Meister, Julian, there was something I did after the show to them. And then Meister called me aside and asked me if I've worked in a corporate space before. And I'm like, no. Me, I don't like corporate. Me, I'll be working from my house and my room. But then I pay attention to certain things. And I feel like something should come. You come to a meeting 10 minutes late. Mm-hmm. The best you can say is, oh, Patty, I'm sorry. They just ended there. At least acknowledge.
Yeah. No.
This one, I know you didn't get a job. I'm sorry. Patty, please continue.
Yeah, so there was that. There's another person who she was asking us to tell her about the Patty the Strategist brand. And I'm like, so my operations lead was like, I believe that there's enough information online. No. Why? Why should we tell you about the company you applied to?
Yeah.
It tells me that you are not looking to come and offer any form of value. You are just checking the box.
Yeah.
Do you understand? You are just checking the box, and we are not looking for people like that. So what we do, we are a very passionate group of people trying to help people. Mm-hmm. Do you understand? So if you're not passionate about it and, convicted to want to work with us, then we cannot work with you. Be curious about things. That's what marketing is about. The person didn't do any form of research. The person was talking to us like it was a FaceTime call.
like this.
Yes, like that. And so initially, I think she was not going to turn on her camera. And then we're like, it's a video interview, so you need to. So I think she was not appropriately dressed for it, her background, and which is why she had to do that. It just didn't gel.
We'll come back to that. On the topic of the question, let me know if I'm wrong. I think a good approach would have been if it was a specific question about, okay, maybe I saw this about
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Madam, sorry.
Whilst I was doing my research, I didn't find this. Can you throw more light on it? Or that works. But for us to tell you what we do,
why are you applying in the first
hello.
and on the video part, I think this comes back to what Coach Sobo was discussing on the episode about excellence, because you can't join a video. You know, it's a virtual meeting.
Yes.
It's a virtual interview.
Yes.
Join with your phone and have your video off, and then if your video is on again, at least you either put. Okay, yeah, I'm getting angry on your behalf. I'm getting angry on your behalf. Please, is that all?
I think that was. Yeah, those are the main things. Yeah, research and doing the research, dressing the parts, demeanor when there are technical challenges, and being able to like personalize your experiences, especially for the written part of the application. It felt there were some that I'll read and I'll tell the operations leader, this is chat.
Yeah.
You know, the person has not put any, like, tweak it a bit, add examples so that we know that you are actually, yes, we are not against AI helping you write, but we want to be able to feel that when we hire you, you'll be able to deliver on the role. And that should be your main focus, not just trying to impress the interviewer. Yeah.
On the topic of ChatGPT, someone sent a proposal to the Unscripted Instagram page, and the first line was, "Hello, Unscripted, insert name." Like, I'll show it to you guys. I was like, oh God. Yeah. I replied, but I didn't talk about it. I'm like, oh God, you guys need to shine your eyes. Okay, thank you on that. I'm sure people will pick a few things, because these things are simple things that need to come to you.
Yeah.
Complaining about jobs, but they are not even just interview. Then if you get into the work.
Yeah.
Anyways, I want to talk about mindsets, right? Mm-hmm. In the last 5 years, what has been like some mindset ideas you had to change? Things, okay, this used to work for me, but it doesn't work for me again. And what are certain things you had in mind that keeps you going? Because one, you're a lady, right? And I'll ask the ladies that come on the same question. How has it been in terms of challenges, right? Because I know I heard you people, me, I don't know. My sister is little, she has not come to complain to me yet, but I heard you people face a lot of things, especially with the males and having to deal with you're a woman, you're young. You also look very young, like Kenny. Surprised
I'm younger than Kenny.
No, this was not
Kenny's
surprising.
big sister.
Right?
Yeah.
You are young and all that. People trying to step on you because of your gender and your age and all that. How was it like?
Okay, so let me tackle the
mindsets.
Gender one, then we come to mindsets, because mindsets is one of my jams.
Okay.
So when it comes to gender, I don't think I have faced anything that is gender biased.
Okay.
I'm going to be honest. I do not think I have experienced anything like that. It's interesting that a lot more women are drawn towards me. So you find that 99% of my clients are women.
Okay.
Yeah, 99% of my clients are women. We've been running the business strategy launchpad for 4 years. This year will be the 5th. Last year was when we had 1 male sign up.
Wow.
Yeah. So I've not experienced anything with regards to that, like people looking down. I mean, I'm carving my own path. So I'm not, I don't happen to be I'm not in those situations where I'm like, maybe I'm backed in a corner or something. I've not experienced that at all. Have I?
No, we thank God. To be very honest.
I'm not. So you won't find me having those conversations and all of that. I empathize with any woman, every woman that has faced challenges, that have not seen, progressive career growth due to their gender. It shouldn't be that way. But personally, I've not had that.
Praise God.
Then when it comes to the mindset, I had to understand that, like I mentioned the other time or a few minutes ago, that what you know is not all there is to know.
Yeah.
So even who you identify yourself as is not entirely true. A lot of times you've put labels on yourself because of trauma, or because of experiences. One of the things I used to tell myself is, I'm not a morning person. But when you tell yourself you are not a morning person consistently, you become You become that. Do you understand? What you feed your subconscious is what
Yeah.
you become.
Yeah.
So your subconscious has picked the file. We are not morning people.
Mhm.
So no matter what it is, unless I'm catching a flight
I'm not
or
waking up.
unless I have a very important, booking, I'm not going to wake up and do what I need to do. But the more my responsibilities grew and I realized that I do not have as much time in the day.
Then you realize you
Yeah.
you can be a morning person.
You can be a morning person. So that's one of the mindset shifts. I used to tell myself when I was in uni that I'm not built for entrepreneurship. None of that. But here I am.
Yeah.
So there are so many things that have changed about me in the last 5 years. I literally, the girl who was in 2020 is not the same girl anymore. I had to embrace certain things. I had to allow myself to shed off every form of mindset. I used to say that I am introverted, but is it really introversion or you just want to be in your corner and not do things? But my work makes me very out there, having conversations with people and all of that. So yeah, basically identifying that I am evolving and I need to be able to adapt in every situation to be able to survive. That has been, I think, the major mindset thing.
Yeah. This morning thing there, you came for me, but it's fine. I'll not fight. One more question before the final thing.
Okay.
That people were asking on the community was a question Kenny answered in her short Instagram video.
Okay.
First class or $1 million?
What am I using first class for? Exactly.
Please, they want to know why. They told me to ask my next guest. So I'm
Okay.
asking why.
I would definitely pick $1 million.
Why?
Because first of all, money solves a lot of problems.
But first class,
First class is a ticket
that
can get you $1 million. But if I have the $1 million,
that's already been
yeah. So where I am currently, and where, so for instance, as I'm doing my master's program, to choose the valedictorian or to collect $1 million, the vision is too big for me to go after valedictorian title. There are projects we need to execute. There are people that need help and all of those things. So yeah, $1 million.
There you have it, guys. All right, thank you so much. If I heard we've done 1 hour, if we continue, we'll probably do like 3 hours. So I have a closing session called the final 7, which is final 7 questions that I couldn't ask, and then a mystery element. Now the previous guest asked the question that's to you, so you listen to that answer, and also leave a question for the next guest.
Okay,
who will be our next guest? Okay, so the first question: what's a lesson life had to teach you the hard way?
You can make time for anything and everything.
Okay. 2, what's a skill everyone should learn but most people don't?
Interpersonal skills.
3, if you could time travel but only once, where or when would you go to? It could be a year, it could be a place.
It would be April 2024.
I know you're not telling me why.
I can tell
me.
I can tell you why. So I lost my sister on 22nd April 2024. So if I could time travel, I'll go back and tell her not to travel.
Yes.
Yeah. She shouldn't go where she went. Yeah.
Sorry.
It's okay.
4, if you weren't doing what you do now, what would you be doing?
I'll probably be a fashion designer. You see some crazy fashion brands, some mad.
You dress very nicely.
Thank you.
5, if you could send one message to the entire world, what would it be?
Keep showing up.
6, if you could have dinner with your younger self, what would you tell her?
Charlie, never fat.
7, if you could invent one thing to make life easier, what would it be?
An AI that can respond to messages the way I would. Like exactly pick my response from my head and type it and send it.
Is it possible? It's possible. They are developers at the back. They said it's possible.
Awesome.
Anyway, so the mystery element from our previous guest. Let me.
To you is, do you? Hello, next guest. My question to you is, do you believe that experience is the best teacher? And what advice do you have for the younger generation that is listening to you? All the best.
Yeah, I 100% subscribe to experience as the best teacher because you can read all the books, you can pay for all the courses, but there's just something you get from actually living out something. I think with my crafts, I remember when I started, doing this as a strategist. Well, before I get on a call with a client, I would have had to do like a lot of research, like read and all of those. In fact, let me use this pod as an example. It's just what last night that I texted you that like what are we going to talk about? Previously, if it was 2020 or 2021,
You have asked me.
I have to prepare, so but doing it consistently, it's now become part and parcel of me, and I just speak what I've lived. Do you see? So yeah, experience is 100% the best teacher. The next generation, the younger generation, put God first.
I saw that, Karen.
Yes, put God first. I honestly, my life has completely turned around when I started pursuing God diligently. And I'm not even, there was a time that I was doing life, like, I go to church, I do quiet time and all of that. And my life was okay. But my life took a complete turn when I surrendered everything fully to God. And so if you know me and you know the things I've been able to do so far, and you're like, oh my God, this lady is doing awesome things, I can tell you for a fact that it's been by the help of the Holy Spirit. There are times where I will be told, post this, and it performs well, as opposed to me scheming and plotting. There are times where I get a product idea on maybe a course to launch. The Business X-Ray webinar, God specifically asked me to do it and do it for free. And that's one of my best products ever. So do life with your creator. He knows how you are wired. He knows what he called you to do. And by saying what he called you to do, that's not only applied to you being behind the pulpit, but you as an individual, even as a daughter, there's a reason you are here. So connect with God, get to know him intimately, and you'll be able to know yourself more and operate better.
Thank you very much. And excuse me, please, a question to our next guest.
Who's our next guest?
I don't know, to be honest.
Hey.
Very generic questions.
What would you say would be the biggest challenge you've encountered on your journey, and how were you able to jump that hurdle? Yeah.
Thank you, Patty, for coming. Please watch the beautiful people in the camera and tell them to subscribe to this channel with your beautiful smile and voice.
So thank you for watching Unscripted with Raygan. As you know, there's so much insight and value on this channel. So make sure you subscribe, leave a comment, and share with a friend. I know that it's going to be very valuable to your friend. Yeah. So share it with your friends, share it on your socials, on your groups, and all of that, so that Raygan would get more motivation to bring more awesome people on the show for you.
Yeah. And she also has a podcast, Beyond the Strategist. Yeah. Please check it out on YouTube. I'll put a link in the description. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Yay. Bye.